2020 was certainly a record year in real estate in terms of price appreciation and the number of home sales. And whoever would have thought that in the midst of a pandemic, we would see that type of a year in the real estate market. But the question today is what's going to happen to home values in 2021? Can this continue and what are they likely to do? Hi, this is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team of eXp Realty. And today I'm just going to spend a few minutes and share some insights with you on what happened last year and what we can expect with regards to price appreciation in 2021. Well, when I look at the latest numbers, according to CoreLogic, average home prices or the median home price in the country as a whole went up about 8.2% over the last year. And here in the markets that I work in, Frisco, Texas, and Prosper, Texas, we saw things being even stronger than that. Home price, the median home price in Frisco went up 18.1%. Huge number. The median home price in Prosper went up just slightly less than 11%. And basically, what we've seen here is that the home price growth remained elevated throughout all of 2020. And home sales were able to go above what they were in 2019, despite everything that happened. And a lot of that was fueled by low interest rates and then supply and demand. And if you've seen any of the videos I've done over the past few months, you know that we've talked about supply and demand a lot because it's driving the market. And it's one of the key reasons that the market we're in right now is nothing like the market we were in 2006, 7, 8, right? Before the market crashed before. That market wasn't necessarily driven by supply and demand. I'm not saying all markets were like that, but the markets I was operating in certainly weren't. We had high supply, right? And demand was being caused more by a frenzy than anything else. And that frenzy was forcing prices up, and it was all artificial, hence the bubble. It was there. So, are we in a bubble now? Well, it's a great question. But the dynamics and the fundamentals of the market, like I said, are completely different based on supply and demand. So, let's take a look at that. You know, According to the National Association of Realtors, right now, as we enter 2021, nationally, we've got about 370,000 fewer homes for sale than we had a year ago. Okay, so locally here in Frisco and Prosper, I just looked at some of these numbers. So to put this in perspective, in December of 2019, in Frisco, there were 731 homes for sale. December of 2020, 219. That's a decline of 70%. So supply is way down. In Prosper, December of 2019, there were 272 homes for sale. December of 2020, only 65, a decline of 76.1%. So supply is really, really tight. Ask anybody that's been looking for a home, out shopping for a home, and they'll tell you they see something go up for sale and it's gone before they've even really had time to decide if they want to go and see it. Now, the expectations are, or the speculation is, I should say, that as the health crisis eases, as more of the vaccine gets rolled out, and we're not under the pressure or the crunch of the pandemic, so to speak, the idea will be that more homeowners will be more comfortable putting their homes up for sale. They'll be all right with opening the home up to the public to allow people through. That should help to increase supply. There's also the idea that some households that have been impacted by the pandemic financially and are either late on mortgage payments or they're in a mortgage forbearance and they're not able to work anything out with the lender, they won't really have any choice but to sell those homes. Now, it's not going to be the tsunami of foreclosures that some had predicted a year ago. That's not going to happen. Those aren't the numbers that we're talking about here. And it's very likely that the new administration is going to put some additional protections in place for saving people from foreclosure. But for some, there's going to be no choice. There will be an increase in inventory based on those homes coming onto the market. But I don't really think it's going to be enough to make a dramatic difference with regards to what the market can take in terms of supply, meaning those homes that get listed will get rapidly sucked up by buyer demand. So when we switch and look at demand, it's obvious that low mortgage rates have been a huge driver of demand. It is now, by and far, almost everywhere in the country, cheaper to buy than it is to rent. Rent prices have been going up, and that has brought more and more buyers into the marketplace. So when you go back to the beginning of 2020, interest rates stood at 3.72%. 3.72% at the beginning of 2020, and the market was really strong. Okay, as we enter 2021, rates are a full percentage point lower. They are showing some signs of volatility right now. They are expected to increase, but by a consensus, they're only expected to increase to around 3.1% by the end of the year. That's still substantially lower than they were a year ago. So interest rates, although expected to go up, are still going to be low enough to keep forcing or driving, not forcing, but driving demand in the marketplace. So when you take this into consideration, not to mention, let's face it, working from home isn't going anywhere. I just read a report yesterday on large corporations worldwide doing everything they can to get out of leases, get out of commercial space. I think we're going to see some dramatic changes to downtowns and large business parks. I'm not sure the huge campuses with lots of people are what we're going to see going forward. That could be a change that in some way, shape, or form is here to stay with regards to more flexibility on where you actually work from. Okay, so we'll have to see how all that plays out. I wouldn't be surprised seeing some of these high-rise office buildings being converted possibly to condominium towers or something along those lines, but we'll wait and see what happens there. So when you look at all of this, you take all this into consideration, where do all the experts think that prices are going to go? Well, they all think they're going to go up in 2021. They're going to continue to rise. How much depends on who you speak to. On the one end of the spectrum, you've got the National Association of Realtors, Realtor.com, and Zelman and Associates, who's widely respected, all forecasting right around 6% price appreciation. Then you've got Freddie Mac and CoreLogic coming in at about half that, between 2.5% and 3%. And then you've got the Mortgage Bankers Association on the low end talking about 2%. Now, again, those are national averages. I fully expect us to see higher appreciation than that, than those forecasts here in Frisco and Prosper as we head into 2021 due to how fast this area is continuing to grow. So again, there's still very limited supply and demand remains high. As long as we have the supply and demand imbalance that we have right now, and assuming nothing crazy happens with the economy or interest rates don't do something completely unexpected, we are going to continue to see this price appreciation continue. So the question becomes, in an appreciating market, is it wise to consider selling your home, or should you sell your home when prices are continuing to rise? And we're going to go into that probably in next week's video. But in the meantime, if you have any questions about this or have a particular situation you want to talk through in general, please reach out. I'm always happy to talk to you. Drop me a note, direct message me on Facebook, find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever your preferred platform is. There's a good chance I'm probably there. All right, so until next week, see you then.